Now, in the spirit of getting ahead of the curve, and you've done this with Lightning for the last 3-4 years, you've been building on it. What are you most excited about for the next 3 or 4 years? What are you trying to get ahead of now in this like Bitcoin adoption curve?
Yeah, so I'm excited about a few trends. One is just the increasing robustness and growth of the Lightning Network itself. I think a lot of people have a hard time reasoning about sort of the growth of networks and how fast that can happen. Um, and you know, if the Lightning Network continues on its trajectory, like this exponential growth is going to make it orders of magnitude, bigger than it is today over the coming years, which means, you know, millions and millions and millions of more people are going to be using this. Um, so just the scale that it's going to get to is just very interesting and very fascinating, especially with a lot of large onboarding platforms to Bitcoin starting to integrate the Lightning Network. Um, I'm also very excited about Taro or Taro. I think it's officially pronounced Taro, from what I've heard. I've been corrected. Um, but I'm very excited actually about assets on Lightning. I think that it's going to open up this whole new world of types of financial products that can be built. I think also Lightning is sort of at the forefront of what I call small footprint, um, like decentralized finance, on Bitcoin. And what I mean by small footprint is building financial products that only commit small amounts of information on chain, which is effectively what a Lightning channel does, right? Um, in contrast to these smart contract blockchains like Ethereum, Solana, etc., where they have this shared global state that's replicated worldwide, and all nodes run all computations and see all data. Um, it's not private, it's not scalable, but it is easier. It's an easier programming model, right? With Lightning, though, it's done the hard work of building this, the first sort of layer of this off-chain financial world. And as it matures and as we get smarter about things, I think we'll see more than just payments, being able to uh, more financial products than just payments happening on Lightning and then layers above Lightning.
And so when you think about having a small footprint on chain, is the benefit of that just the privacy component, or is there another benefit that you see?
There's a lot of benefits and there's some downsides. One benefit is privacy, absolutely. The only people who know about the state are the people who need to know about the state, the parties involved in the payment, in the example of the Lightning Network. That also makes it a lot more anti-fragile, right? If there's some hiccup or some bad actor in that payment flow, it doesn't affect anybody else. If there's some catastrophic failure, some technical failure on one of the nodes involved in one payment channel, not fun for them, but everyone else is still fine, right? Whereas in contrast, right, if there's a flaw in the EVM, good luck, right? That's going to be an absolute nightmare to clean up because everyone's affected. It keeps the sort of types of catastrophic failure that can happen much more contained. So those are, I think, two of the, and it's also way more scalable, right? You can basically scale infinitely. Some of the downsides though are, because it's so private and because you don't have this global data set that everyone can see and agree on, building more complex financial products is more challenging, right? One big problem is like the matching problem, or the order book problem. Like, let's say you want to exchange, like in Ethereum, right? You have like Uniswap, right? Where you have these. It's easy to build like an on-chain exchange to swap assets. In Bitcoin land, if you want to do something like this, you need people to like agree on off-chain transactions. You need to like collect orders, and then like if you match an order, that both parties then need to sign that order before it could ever get actually like posted. So then you get all these challenges with, okay, so then everyone like you need to like you can't have like all this like aggregated liquidity just like ready to go, ready to fill an order. You have to sort of do each order one by one in an interactive format. And so it just opens up the door to like a lot of more complexity and challenges there, but I think they're solvable.
So do you think there's a time where we do have some similar, exchange order book system built on either Bitcoin or on Lightning? Maybe this is something that leverages Taro?
So I actually think Taro is very interesting because of the decentralized exchange it's going to facilitate. There's a number of ways that exchange can be accomplished in a Taro world. So I think there's like a big debate. I think the biggest debate would be decentralized exchange for like altcoins and stuff on Bitcoin. Like, let's not even talk about that. Like, I think there's one trading pair everyone can agree is useful, which is dollars and Bitcoin, right? So let's say there's a stable coin on Taro, right? And for those the listeners who don't know what Taro is, it's basically this way to represent off-chain or just tokens, arbitrary assets on Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin blockchain using Taproot outputs that are also transferable off-chain on Lightning, right? So the way this would work is, let's say I wanted to create a dollar coin, right? I could create like, say, River dollars, right? And we have a bank account. If you give us dollars, we give you a River dollar on chain. And then if you have River dollar channels, you can transfer these dollars to anyone else. To anyone you can find a path to. What's cool is that not only can you transfer these dollars on Lightning, you can atomically swap the dollars for Bitcoin on Lightning with other parties, and vice versa, which means you can trade Bitcoin and dollars now through Lightning. And so those trades can be facilitated through routing nodes that there's a few different modes of operation you can do to like facilitate this decentralized exchange, but sort of the long and the short of it is, all of a sudden now you can have a DEX running off-chain, which is kind of cool.
And powered by Bitcoin liquidity.
Empowered by
Bitcoin. Along the way.
You could even theoretically, this decentralized exchange can also be like implicit. It can be part of a routing, just part of a payment flow. So let's say, for example, that a merchant wants dollars, right? Which is very reasonable. Most of their costs are still in dollars, so a lot of merchants still want dollars. But if they want to accept Bitcoin, they could actually accept the dollar payment over Lightning. Let's say, Kevin, you have a a Bitcoin channel with River, and River has a dollar channel with a merchant. You want to buy something from the merchant in Bitcoin. The merchant wants to receive dollars. So you pay through us. We have a price that we convert at, and we route your payment initially from you to us comes via Bitcoin, and then from us to the merchant goes via US or like River dollars or something like that. And we've facilitated that trade. And there's a lot of interesting stuff like that could happen.
Yeah, that was something I was thinking about here before this conversation. It was like, you guys are an exchange, and Taro enables you to exchange any asset. And you have one of the biggest nodes on the Lightning Network. I'm piecing two and two together here. Does it seem like, is it a reasonable assumption to think that River is going to be facilitating a lot of these asset swaps and asset transactions on Lightning through Taro?
So, these are all things that we're exploring. Right, we don't know exactly how things will play out. There's a lot of different ways to approach this, to approach all of this stuff. While I won't give away sort of our specific plans, we are very, very interested in this like direction. We're very interested in seeing the Lightning Network grow, flourish, and prosper, and using our position as a depository institution to facilitate the liquidity for payments like this. So, the short answer is yes. The long answer is that's more of a direction, but there's still a lot of figuring out. The devil's in the details with this stuff, right?
Right.
For example, how do you how do you know what price we're going to convert at, right? Like, is everyone agreeing on that price? How do you guys make sure we're not like scamming you? There's like a lot of like protocol details left to figure out there. And so I don't want to sort of hand wave away like some of the complexity with this stuff, because I think as it gets built out, we'll start to learn a lot more about sort of some of the warts and some of the things that will take time. So we're being sort of like modest and taking an engineering approach to this and really making sure we deeply understand sort of the ins and outs of it before committing to a product.